Morning, fellow zombies. It's 2:37 in the morning. West Coast time is the 10th of December 2023. Very chilled out. We were John C. of Roseman, California. Right here in the Antelope Valley, and we got 28 degrees currently. Catching on some of the other stuff on here, and I'm asking myself a question on here. What kind of medical conditions could I catch from someone else's mentality? Or their kind of idea of what things are supposed to be or not supposed to be at this point. Coming across one of the independent sources out there who like to challenge a lot of things being pumped out of our government system and corporate media. Yesterday there was a posting of from what they call the damage control, or no, actually the damage report, part of the Young Turks network, and they're going after Speaker Johnson again. And Johnson is one of them ultra Christian religious right and Sharia law Speaker of the House that no one's challenged just yet. Wish they had, but unfortunately we got some Trumplicans still existing in the so-called Republican Party. That's no longer a Republican Party. They're all Trumplicans. So you got Michael. You got this not Michael. You've got this Johnson character, the Speaker of the House, pumping out his own tweets saying that how dare teachers teach how to be gay in classes or something similar to that. He's going after high schoolers, creating the finger of God at them. How dare you be this way? How dare the teachers teach this? How dare they? I'm like, wait a second. Biology? You're going to be complaining to God about biology at this point over here? No, I'm blaming the teachers. Why are you blaming the teachers? Because I'm blaming the teachers! We gotta create the fear of God. We gotta do this for the party. We gotta do. I'm thinking to myself, you guys have really lost your minds, you know. Since was the Republican Party a long time ago actually went after kids. When you got the weirdos running the whole entire party, it's like I have no respect for any of them. Because what I don't see is a gang up of any of the conservatives who want to conserve or preserve their so-called party. They're not jumping on the troublemakers. Nope, they're allowing it to happen. So therefore, they're complicit. So the entire Republican Party in Congress is complicit in the act of jumping on and blaming people. They want to be law and order, but they're not law and order. They want to be for the parents and for everything else, but they're not because they're making people afraid, divisive, and deriding. So when you have a Speaker of the House, supposed to be a very highly notable and respectable position of government, declaring with his finger pointing at the kids and parents and teachers, saying, how dare you be this way? You're being taught this way. You can't be taught this way because you're not straight. I'm like, you hypocritical son of a bitch. Call yourself a man of God, but you didn't blame. God didn't do this to you. The other people convinced you this. Well, I throw the biology thing out again. There has to be something in our chromosomes, something in our DNA, somewhere in there, that puts us into a pathway where we are going to be different from everybody else one way or another. Straight. At least last time I checked my DNA at this point. Did I ever check my DNA? Well, did I check my own internal clockwork, my own mind? I think I straight. Check my own biological entity, the compartments, the departments, the functionalities. Gross, isn't it? Well, how would you like to be talked about your own sexuality or your own biological components as being deformed And here's the point I'm also trying to make. Getting back to science at this point and biology. Who the hell made you God to judge people like this one in the first place, Johnson? Clusterfuck. Yeah, I said it. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is a clusterfuck. I'll call him on it. Hey, First Amendment rights at this point over here. You want to tell about people are they can't be what they are. They can't be who they are. We can't accept them as such because you deem it. Well, who the hell are you? You're a person of God, and you're going to be judging God's creations like this. You talk about a hypocrite at this point over here. No wonder Christ had a problem with human beings when we had the times of the Romans, because they're probably just as backward ass and dense as you are. I'll say it again if I have to. If I can repeat it, I can remember it. Christ had a problem concerning about people back then, and he still called people being hypocrites. Now, he used one particular metaphor. I'll get it for a second here. I gotta get that damn padding of mine adjusted. It was quoted in the Bible, Luke and also Matthew somewhere. And when he's doing Sermon on the Mount, he's talking about people being hypocritical. Now, I swear, these people who claim that they're of God, they're following Jesus, they're Christian nationalists, or God knows what else they call themselves, that they don't follow, they don't listen, they don't read. All they see is, see the CCC! Look at this race over here! Now we have the power to blame people. Feed upon people's fears and ignorance and arrogance. The charlatans do a hell of a way of trying to convince people that, yes, I'm supposed to be this way, I'm supposed to be that way. I was born with multiple birth defects, with crooked limbs. You gonna judge me for that one? And yet I had to have braces for my back, for my limbs, so I could walk properly. I also had a holy heart, literally. I had a heart that was leaking. I had malformed valves that needed to be replaced. And in order to be replaced, I had to have major surgery that killed me. And 3 times I went up, and 3 times I got put back down here because I had a job to do, whatever the hell the job was. Does that make me weird? I still carry the scar here, and I still carry a scar over here, and I still carry a scar down here. They have to have entryways of getting in and giving me some fluid liquid and trying to use a damn miniature camera to see what the hell is going on inside my ticker. This was back in 1970. Does that make me different? I kept going to school, and they kept seeing the scar. I kept sitting down sometimes because I had things happening with me, and I had to take it easy. And I got picked on for it because I wasn't active like everybody else. I got picked on because I wasn't quote unquote normal. Was that my fault? Was that my mother's fault? Good Lord, was that my mother's fault? So now I get to blame her? She carried me. I was born with this stuff. But it's supposed to be my fault because I'm different. Physically, I'm different. Doesn't mean my sexual preference was weirded out. I liked girls. I had a crush on one. Unfortunately, at one time, I had to move away. She went to a different school, and I moved to a different neighborhood. But I had a crush on this one. I liked her too. She was cute. Does that make me normal? For a lot of people, they'll probably say, yeah, he's normal, he's... But what happens if I started preferring the other kids? The boys. Oh no, he's contaminated! Okay, what happens if my genetics somehow screwed around with my own damn neurochemistry? What happens if the cellular was screwing around a little bit during birth or in the process of it. Was that my fault? What happens if I was born gay? Or worse, transsexual? Multiple birth organs. Back in the 60s, they didn't have the genetic testing, at least not to my knowledge. My knowledge back then concerning my medical science was lousy anyway. And I never realized that they would have genetic testing back then to find out whether or not if you're gay or not. Or if you're going to have different organs that another sex would have had. Let's call it as it is. I wasn't queer. I wasn't gay. I wasn't a transsexual. I was born a boy. But because of that, who designed my body that way in the first place? Who designed my mind that way? Who put me in there and just let me live? But hell, I was supposed to be taught to be believing in God, and God didn't like these people or that people. Well, then my question is, why did he create them in the first place? If you were born with different genitalia, was it your fault? Was it somebody else trying to tell you something? Was it your fault for being that way? And the problem is, the people don't even understand it, that biology and science has a way of the plumbing of the universe is one way. You're going to blame the designer? Why don't you just blame God for everything? Let's put it out there. Let's blame Jesus and God. You're going to be hypocritical about it. You're going to tell me that God doesn't make mistakes, and yet we have differences in the world. Why? We had the Garden of Eden. Everything was different in there. Why? We had a man and a woman starting off, but we also had the tree of knowledge. Why? You want me to follow your particular hypocritical ways of thinking. I'm going to question the author. I'm going to question the author right here and right now. I'm going to put it to Jesus. I'm going to put it to God. God, I hope you're listening. Let's put it to you. Let's put it on the record, on the camera at this point over here. You're probably not going to boom out the voice in the first place there, but let's see. Let's see for the argument here. They were sitting right across from me, or standing across from me. So I'm going to ask, okay, why'd you make the differences? If we are supposed to be so different, so unique, this was your idea for creation. You didn't do the cookie cutter situation. You didn't do a Borg-like situation. You did individualism. You did artistic. You crafted. You meticulated. You visualized. And then you crafted. Why? You could have just had a factory basis. And wherever human beings were thought of, created, put on a damn drawing board, and made machinery, and just put us out like cookie cutter. Why didn't you do cookie cutter? Why? And Jesus, always trying to point out differences in us left and right, but you're also trying to show us how unique we are, how special we are. Don't you know we're supposed to be cookie cutter? And the people say so. And the people who follow you say so. They keep thinking that you want things cookie cutter. Somewhere in the Bible, in the holy text that we're given here, the instructions of how to deal with things here. Why are we supposed to accept them as we try to accept ourselves when we can't accept ourselves? We're supposed to, but we're not. So I think it's you and God's fault on this one. You did the Tower of Babel, and you gave us different languages because somehow or another you got pissed off at something. You wiped out the people and animals on the earth, but saved representatives on a little tiny boat floating around in the water for a long time. And then they found land to repopulate. Why? You looked at Sodom and Gomorrah. You blasted them into non-existence. You turned a lady into a pillar of salt. Why? Why? We're supposed to be, but we're not. Why? You think I'll have God strike me down on this one? He would know my heart. He would know my brain. He would know me, period. He's not exactly going to be looking at the instruction book or a factory tag on me and saying, "Oh well, I know. I think I know this creature here. What is this guy? Let's look at the tag. Ah, his name is John C. Weaver. Okay. Who's the parents? Okay, this is supposed to be the biological parents over here. Uh, boys, did we actually create this guy? Did he come in at a test tube all right? He wasn't a Frankenstein? He wasn't slapped together here? Jesus, come over here. I know you're messing around with that model over here. Get over here. I need a question on this one. Well, you looking at the product here? Is he all right? Was there enough factory defects we put in this kid? He seems to hit us like crazy. He's got questions. What do you think? You're going to tell me that one? You should have been following the instructions given by the other classes downstairs? He's questioning us. We're supposed to be unquestionable. We're supposed to be presentable. You know who we're supposed to be, Jesus? But this kid, is he a defect? How many of these kids do we have anyway? That many. Uh huh. Okay, so you've been working on this production line for how long again? Well, I know it wasn't my fault for you going down there in the first place. You volunteered on this one, didn't you? No, I sent you down there. When was this? You gonna remind me on that one again? You're going off on a tangent on this one again. We're gonna have this age-old eternal argument on this one, aren't we? Okay, fine. We're gonna have this one. Sorry I had to do this. I take my little dog outside in the freezing cold for her business, while I still do the analysis of this particular business here. Looks like somebody's up this morning. Anyway, so what I don't get from ignorant people who don't even realize this and don't even care to realize this, that's the problem. Imagine if we were cookie cutter beings. How are we supposed to react to that? How are we supposed to deal with that one? We're mass produced. There'll be a plant upstairs producing human beings in a conveyor belt. Souls being recreated in some kind of special labs, grown into petri dishes, and installed in human beings and sent down to Earth. How does that grab you? Doesn't grab you? Well, if God was an if he was an artist, why would he put differences in us? Why in the Bible that there are so many different things in there that he puts out that we have to accept, but we don't accept because we think we're better, we're special, and therefore we go against God, but we're not supposed to go against God. If we had gone against God, then we cannot accept our holy texts. We cannot accept our holy books that we've been taught. Because now we're taught that God is imperfect, according to our own human standards. We are taught to be divided and hateful and despiteful of all the damn differences. You know what drives me crazy? We even put this stuff in artistic views and we laugh and we don't even get the damn joke. We don't get the damn joke. It's right in front of our faces. There was this one movie called Robots. I think it was done by DreamWorks. They love doing their animations like crazy. Robots was this world of robots, of mechanisms, of robots of all shapes and sizes. Except one particular screwed up person and his wicked mother wants things new and shiny and the same thing. So anybody who's different, anybody who's unique, has to be scrapped, melted down, and rebuilt as a carbon copy of everything. You know what's one thing when you watch these movies and you don't even catch the joke? Because the writers out there are making their pitch. I like reading books. I like watching movies. I try to see the similarities and compare it to these days. I'd been watching the TV series that had been out for over 20, 25 years. And it's still relevant because some of the points that they keep making, we keep missing left and right. We keep replaying the things over and over again. We keep repeating the same mistakes and the same viewpoints over and over again, and we don't even realize it. No, because we're too stupid anyway. We humans are too damn stupid. Show's called The West Wing. Been about 7, 8 years. 7 seasons, I think. And yes, it's about a liberal president and his staff dealing with political button issues that we're dealing with today. Literally. There have been things in there that are a bit far fetched because we haven't quite, sorry, we haven't quite, well, it's just a little bit far fetched according to our mentality in the script writing. But not so much. We have similarities left and right all over the damn thing that we don't even see it. We watch a good show, we see the hot button topics, it's like, oh, that's not going to happen here. 20, 25 years later, we keep repeating ourselves. History repeats itself. The world recycles itself. I had, I'm still a college student over at a community college. Been there for a long while. And one particular class I was in this past semester, I was raising an issue with my English class and my teachers concerning about recycling. And they're looking at me like, huh? The teacher's in there older than I am. She's been about, 5 years older or 5 or 10 years. And she's looking at me like, now I know she's been chewing the same dirt as I have, time wise. So she would have been able to pick up this situation here a great deal, but she hadn't. Unless she had, she's going, very interesting, very interesting. I'm thinking, oh, you missed the point entirely. We're recycling. We recycle everything. You don't get it. Look at the big picture, boys and girls. It's called perspective and time and everything else. We recycle our values. We recycle ourselves. We recycle our communities. We recycle our humanities. Just as the earth tries to constantly renew itself, we do the same thing to ourselves as well, as a society and as individuals. We're limited in our lifespan. We're limited in how long we lay on the earth. We're limited, period. We are constantly rejuvenated, constantly renewed, and we don't even realize it. Our mortal corpse will just decay, the atoms scattered about, and new schmucks are coming up. People will be screaming about defects of character. Okay, why? We gotta purge. We gotta correct them. They're imperfect. Why? As I said before, I liked watching televisions and reading books. Twilight Zone kept showing us this one back in late 50s and 60s. I remember that for a time we'd been watching the Thanksgiving Twilight Zone series. Twilight Zone's been out there about 2, 3 seasons, giving us a lot of anthology things to think about. Short stories, cultures, differences, opinions, things that they looked at back in the 1950s and 1960s, and yet I look at them and they're relevant today. Not because of my own understanding and because I watched the show so many damn times. I'm seeing it and comparing it today. So what do I always take issue? Because we just don't see the bigger picture. And can I also say that the universe also recycles itself? It's a scientific basis. It's a scientific fact. Of course, I say it, but the universe is doing it already. I would compare us to ants versus the redwoods, if we had enough redwoods left. Ant colonies only last for actually the individual ant can only last for a short time. So does insects. They have a little bit of a longer lifespan, but the trees seem like acting forever. Or compare that to a mountain. Underneath, we have colonies build up. One ant will be able to see a tree one way, and then another ant will see it another point of view because it's a different time for the ant. And a new ant will look at the tree and it'll look like exactly the same, but there are differences happening with this tree that we can measure. Much like the geologic time on our planet in the first place. They said we had theories concerning about subduction zones, and we have earthquake, and we have plate tectonics. We have a constantly shifting Earth, but in our own lifespan, sometimes we'll see it automatically, or else it'll be so small and insignificant changes that we barely conceive of it. But it happens. It changes, it mutates, it deforms our planet the way we think. It's out of our control. So how is it biology of a person here is supposed to be in our control, in our favor, in classrooms when we can't even control the outcome of it was already done a long time ago? I'm going to blame God for every change that we have because everything is different. I'm going to blame God for this one. I'm going to blame God for that one. I'm going to blame Him because He's the architect. But the mothers who bore the kids and the teachers who try to tell us the differences, what's going on, but said we're different, but we're unique. We're unique. And I'm going to start hearing the naysayers coming out there and bellyache about this one. So I'm going to throw them a movie at them. The Robots, or just called Robots. It's a cartoon. Even cartoons have a way of telling people what's going on. I'm sorry, do they know how to watch this stuff? Do they know how to pop in a DVD or actually use streaming services these days? Can they actually type it into a search engine, either Bing or Chrome or whatever they're using? Can they actually understand the title Robots? Different interpretations of the word. And yet, one movie is called Robots. But we have the actual mechanisms of robots. Is there a difference? Do I blame teachers for that one or do I blame God on that one? Maybe I should just take the holy books and burn them. What do you think? Be a book burner. Well, why not? You guys banned the Bible anyway. What is it? A few states out there or more than that are having problems with banned books. And Utah, if I'm not mistaken, months ago, somebody brought up this issue with the state of Utah concerning about the banned books because they're pornographic, they're this, they're that. Oh my God, they're wokeism. And then somebody put on the list for the banned books of Bibles. So they have had a little row on this one. And the commissioners were like, but the Bible was created by man, was written up by man, of the interpretations he had a long time ago, verbally, left and right. Verbal stories. And if I'm going to challenge God and Jesus on this one here, if God was trying to speak to us in those words back then, we had to make sure we were articulating them correctly, weren't we? But we had to do the action. We had to do the work on it. We had to make sure that our own influences wasn't masking God's purpose. Or did they? Did God and Jesus actually wanted us to accept differences? Or did he want us to be a cookie cutter world with cookie cutter mentality? We're created in petri dishes instead of living human beings. You know, I would think Aldous Huxley would bring out the Brave New World and show us what the real world's supposed to be like. How does that grab you? We're supposed to be following God, but did God do the same thing like Aldous Huxley was writing about? Blasphemous? Oh, no, no, no. Wait until I start talking about the other books and the other religions who follow their teachings religiously and absolutely. Shall we pick on them too? Should we pick on their styles because they're different? If I happen to speak ill concerning certain characters, certain beings, certain teachers, coming from a specific religion or worship, how is this going to be received? You can't even joke about it without being put onto a fatwa. But we want things cookie cutter, don't we? We want to be absolute this way and that way. We have to force dogma and teachings down people's throats now, don't we? We got to sneak it past our own laws that we have in this country of America. Because we want our dogma this way. We want our mentality this way because it has to be this way. Like other countries had changed into by force. They have to believe in it because if they don't, they die. You guys getting all this? So maybe differences is good. But in your case, boys and girls, I may have to insult God and Jesus, and I'm still going to have to pay the price on this one. Because I still believe in them. I still have faith. I have the scars to prove it. I had scars that saved my life. And I'm going to be beholden to the ones who actually saved my life on this one. But I'm not quite sure about the medical establishment on this one. All they did was just the cookie cutting stuff. Cut into me, trying to cut, sew, paste. And I still got a resentment against them.